What is honorable leadership? Is there still honor in leadership? Are there still honorable leaders? Is honorable leadership even achievable in today's society? My name is Jennifer Mitchell Earley. I help individuals and teams achieve organizational and personal success. And this is Leadership Matters. Today, we're talking about honorable leadership. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines honorable as deserving of respect or high regard, entitled to honor or respect, performed or accompanied with marks of honor or respect, attesting to credible conduct, consistent with a reputation that is not tarnished or sullied, characterized by integrity, guided by a keen sense of duty and ethical conduct. Honorable leadership is characterized by being reputable, credible, fair, honest, upstanding, ethical, principled, righteous, virtuous, right-minded, and the like. When we think about leaders who are esteemed as honorable, we think of leaders like Warren Buffett, known for his candid leadership style, especially as it relates to making mistakes. We've often talked about it's okay that you make mistakes. What is important is how you rebound from that. Are you able to admit that you've made a mistake? Are you able to get back up and get on the right foot and move forward? So the mistakes aren't the issue. How individuals choose to respond in light of having made a mistake, that can be the issue and or stumbling block depending upon how individuals choose to handle it. Warren Buffett stated in an interview with Performance Magazine that if every shot was a hole-in-one, it wouldn't make the game very interesting. You have to hit balls in the woods a few times to learn how to invest and how to lead others to performance standards. In other words, the mistakes are where you learn in the process. The mistakes are valuable because they help you to, make corrections course corrections along the way that will better the team in the long run. Barack Obama is known for his flexibility and his ability to compromise. Lord knows through his 8 years in office, and even now, he has flexed when darts have come his way. He's been able to be agile and maneuver around them because he understands what's most important aren't the personal darts and the personal assassinations and the personal attacks, but rather the democracy, the country, the people. Barack Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009 for his efforts in strengthening international diplomacy. He reminded us how integral compromise is to leadership during his 2017 farewell address when he said, "Understand that democracy does not require uniformity. Our founders argued, they quarreled, and eventually they compromised." Bill Marriott from the Marriott Hospitality brand is known for his belief in the power of people skills, saying that the most important thing that a leader can do is to listen to his people and get buy-in from those that you are trying to lead. Queen Elizabeth, another honorable leader. She is one of the great change practitioners. She's been on the throne since 1952 and understands that managing change is a key component of leadership, stating that change has become a constant. Managing it has become an expanding discipline. The way we embrace it defines our future. And lastly, you may think of Sheryl Sandberg, the Chief Operating Officer of Facebook, founder of leanin.org, and the author of Lean In, Women, Work, and the Will to Lead. She extols leaders' ability to be tenacious and persevering, stating during a 2016 speech at the University of California, Berkeley, that it's the hard days, the times that challenge you to your very core, that will determine who you are. You will be defined not just by what you achieve, but how you survive. At the core of honorable leadership is a propensity to put the welfare of those that you lead first. That's a key. That's the core foundation. When you're looking for a key characteristic, when you're evaluating leaders, the first thing you want to do is look at how they treat those that they're leading. Are they considerate? Are they empathetic? Do they put them first? Do they think about what's going to be in their best interest, meaning their employees? Or do they think about what's going to be in their best interest, thinking about themselves and the legacy that they want to leave? What about the individuals who are, working with the leader to achieve the goals? An honorable leader has an honorable nature. That means at their core, at their essence, they are an honorable individual. They are honest, they're principled, they're courageous, they're empathetic, they're respectable, they're considerate, they're ethical, they're genuine, they're kind, they're helpful, they're courageous, all of those things. They embody those characteristics that puts others before them, that puts the cause before their own personal goals. Recently, I read an article in Forbes regarding Elijah Cummings, who passed away earlier this year. Representative Elijah Cummings was known as the keeper of the nation's conscience and was lauded by Nancy Pelosi as a leader of towering character and integrity. Many of you are aware of Elijah Cummings and the fact that he fiercely represented his district in Baltimore until his death. In the Forbes article, Elijah Cummings and the 3 fundamentals of an honorable life and career, the author notes the fundamentals that Elijah Cummings operated by, which made him an honorable leader throughout his career. And those are the things that we're going to look at today to see how we can be and how we can exemplify honorable leadership, how we can be honorable leaders. The first thing that the author talks about is the fact that the uplifting and impactful experiences that you create for others, that Elijah Cummings created uplifting and impactful experiences for others in his career. He's quoted, "This job here, I love this job because I can help masses of people at one time." As a leader, are you intentionally making efforts to uplift those around you with whom you work? If so, how do you go about doing that? Do you volunteer for programs or projects that serve a greater purpose where you may never benefit financially or otherwise? You may not have your name in the paper. Someone may not come by and acknowledge that you have helped. But does that matter, or does the greater work matter? How often do you stop and listen to those around you who don't have the power or influence to give you a raise or a promotion? How often do you give someone the time because they are worthy of your respect and your time as a fellow human being, as a fellow individual contributor? Do you show your friends, family, and colleagues that you care about their needs, or is everything always about you? Do people ever write, call, or otherwise let you know that you have positively impacted their lives in one way or another? And then, how do you show gratitude for this? Second foundational principle. What is the level of integrity that you demonstrate with yourself and others? What level of integrity do you demonstrate with yourself and others? Elijah Cummings is quoted as saying, "The work I do is consistent with what I believe my purpose is on earth." Does your work represent your purpose? Does it align with your purpose? Does it contradict your purpose? What do you do when no one is looking? What's your level of integrity? What would other people say about your level of integrity? Would they think, if asked, that you were an integral individual? That you operate with integrity? Have you defined or do you uphold a set of professional and personal standards for behavior and decisions? If you do, can other people attest to them? Do you demonstrate that if you do? Do other people notice it, acknowledge it? Are they aware of those standards? When a decision presents an ethical dilemma, are you prone to do what is right for the greater good, for the larger organization, for the community, etc.? Or is it more important to consider how it resounds to the benefit of those you like? How will it play for others? What's the PR? What does that look like? Do you need to spin the information? Or are you just prone to do what's right no matter what? And let the chips fall where they may. Let the interpretations fall as they may. And resist the urge to massage the information. Let people make their own choices based on the information that they're provided. How much time do you spend weighing the negative and positive consequences of actions that you take? Do you think about it from the beginning to the end? The Bible talks about it as in, with this, counting costs. How do you count the cost? Not just to yourself, but to everyone involved in the decision. Anyone and everything that can be impacted. What steps do you take to ensure that you don't sacrifice your integrity while pursuing career goals and professional advancement? You know, I think this is a harder question for some than for others. And I think if we were honest, if we were just in a room by ourselves and we were just asking these questions of ourselves and honestly responding, I wonder if our responses would differ. For me, it was always important that I was able to look myself in the mirror. That whatever decision I made or whatever I said, I could say it to you, the person next to you, the person behind you, the person in front of me, etc. That it did not matter, that I was doing what I thought was right, and that I could say it to anyone, and that I could live with my decision peacefully once I had made it, and that I didn't have a problem explaining my decision-making process to someone else, whether they agreed or disagreed with me. That is something that was instilled in me growing up. I've talked about honesty is the best policy. I've talked about your word is your bond. I've talked about, being ethical. I've talked about, thankfully, having a mentor in my public life, which helped me to navigate some of the pitfalls of public life and what comes along with those things that come along once people think that you're influential or that you have power or that they can get something from you that they need, and all the cares that are dangled as a result. But at the end of the day, beyond having a mentor, beyond knowing what was instilled with me growing up, I still am faced with these decisions that I have to make on my own. Yes, I have those values that have been instilled. And yes, I have those life lessons that I can look back to. But ultimately, it really speaks to what's at the core of me. What do I believe? When no one else can see what I'm doing, when there may not possibly be any repercussions, let's just say I could get away with it scot-free. What is my decision and why? That's what you need to ask yourself. The last foundational principle that the author notes is the contributions you make to your community or to your profession. What does that look like? Elijah Cummings is quoted as saying, "I think it's important for industry to do well, but I want them to do well and do good at the same time." So he never forgot where he came from. And that was one of the hallmarks of Representative Elijah Cummings. We all don't need to go into public service to do well and to do good in our community and to do good for other people. Wherever it is that you are in life, how would you evaluate or assess the contributions that you make to your community or your profession? Are you just going in from 9 to 5 and doing what you have to do and collecting your check? I'm not judging you. I'm asking the question. Or are you making contributions to your society? I know that, for example, professors, they are published. They do published works which contribute to their community at large, to their discipline. They do, whatever the case may be, if whatever works that they may do, whether it be experiments or things of that studies, the research contributes to the education of that field and then eventually gets passed down to up and coming individuals in that respective discipline. And that's how they contribute. How are you contributing? I've seen other elected officials who work out in their community, literally go door to door, talk to their residents, see what the needs are, and immediately attack it. That's how they're contributing to their community. And some people will say that's what we paid them for. But I think we both know there's some elected representatives who just collect a check, and not even your check that's important to them, not the taxpayers' dollars, more so the contributions that they're getting from the people who support them in their reelection bids. And that's a whole nother conversation for another day. It's those individuals who get out, who talk to the seniors, who try to tackle issues, if it's issues surrounding education or activity for the youth or whatever it might be. Those people who typically start out, by the way, as community activists. They're not getting a check from taxpayers to represent them. They're out there because they literally believe in the cause. And so what are you doing that demonstrates that you literally believe in the cause, either of your profession and or your community? In order to be a person who lived an honorable life, or who is remembered or thought of as someone who's living an honorable life, you have to do things that contribute to and engage with your personal and professional community. So when you think about that, think about what specific things you're doing to advance your profession, which we talked about. Do you ever serve on committees or boards or offer to speak or write about something that will help to elevate your profession and others in it? We talked about being published for professors. When is the last time you dedicated time to develop someone from a younger generation? When have you been a cheerleader to someone else, a mentor, a coach? When have you given back? You look back and you reach down and you give a hand and a leg up to someone who's coming behind you who can benefit from your expertise and your wisdom and your guidance. When is the last time? Are you open to, this is interesting, are you open to listening to and taking advice from newcomers to your profession? Yes, you've been doing it a while. I say all the time, I've been doing this a long time. But I'm going to tell you some newcomers that I watch, that I have my eyes on, that I always give accolades to, because I understand when somebody is putting in the work. And I also am impressed, oh, I didn't think about that. I can do that too, or I can use that as a template. Maybe I don't do it exactly the way that person is doing, but I like it. And I like those components. And I know they'll fit over in my community too. I just have to tweak it here and there. I am always open to hearing ideas from other individuals. I don't care how long you've been doing whatever it is you've been doing. If you're a genuine person, if you walk the talk, if you demonstrate that you are doing what you say you're doing, because actions speak louder than words, I'm open to having dialogue with you. I'm open to getting exchange from ideas with you. I'm open to think tanks and everything else, because that's how you get new ideas. You can't do the same thing the same way and expect different results. You got to do some things differently, and I'm open to that. What about you? Last thing I'll leave you with is, what actions have you taken within the last 5 years to contribute to your personal or to your professional or personal community. Leaders like Elijah Cummings and John Lewis left us great blueprints to follow. Martin Luther King Jr., all the leaders that I named beforehand that are still with us, we can literally sit at their feet. We can read their works. We can watch them do what they do. We can really just glean from their experiences, from their trials and tribulations, from their successes and their failures, and decide that we want to do better, that we want to lead with honor. Honorable leadership is not dead. It's a choice. We choose every day what path we're going to take. And along that path, we make many choices that continue to lead us. Either we take the fork in the road or we stay straight. Whatever it is that we do, we are faced with these choices every day that we make. We can choose to do right by other people. We can choose to be the light. We can choose to take the high road. We can choose to be empathetic, to be generous, to be considerate. We can make these choices every day to put our team's needs before our own. The choice is ours. Honorable leadership is attainable. It is achievable. It is alive and well. The choice is yours. Have a great week.